Enlightenment has a bit of pretentiousness around it, but working on betterment,
evolution,
exactly, is what kind of fans those flames to be a little bit bigger, to see more, and keep all the bears away.
Yeah, the bears. That's
damn bears.
Man, they're crazy. Like the grizzly bears in BC, some of them are like 12 feet tall, 1,000 pounds.
Oh, they're terrifying.
Like that's
huge.
2 6-foot tall people.
It's one of the scariest. So after living in BC, I did a lot of hiking and camping and mountaineering. I never let go of my fear of bears. I'm terrified of bears. And even like, I remember one time I was doing this hike that we went up to the Yukon, and we went to Golden Slides National Park, which is on the Dempster Highway on the way to the Northwest Territories. And I was like, how was the bear activity today at like their ranger station? And they're like, oh, we saw one over there and a grizzly over there. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going. I ended up doing a little bit of hiking and stuff, but bears are scary.
They're monsters.
Yeah.
Like you see pictures of them, like person versus bear on the internet or something. It's like, no, that's the thing I was afraid of was under my bed as a kid. Like that's what I was afraid of in the closet.
But
that's the monster.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, I think that's why it's in our psyche. Why was every kid born already afraid of that?
Yeah.
Even though they might have lived in the city, and maybe they lived in the city for generations, and there's no one in their city, no one in their family has ever seen a bear. But that fear of that monster and the darkness around the fire. Because how many of us got picked off?
Yeah.
How many people back when we were Indians and natives just wandered away from the fire a little too far and got picked off?
Exactly.
Plenty.
Actually, if you want an animal that I'm more scared. I'm terrified of grizzlies, but likely like cougars and mountain lions because they're more predatory and they can climb trees and they just come after you and jump out of a tree
Silently.
But here I am living in my perfect Nova Scotian bubble. So I don't have to worry about anything like this.
Yeah, not yet. I wonder what, like this summer, it's got me thinking about climate change a lot more than I might have. It's been hotter than I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that, touch wood, hopefully, like this is, what's going to stay, but it wouldn't surprise me if this didn't become more of a trend. Mm-hmm. But I think what's been different this year is there's just been a sustained amount.
Yeah, it's been hot for a
while. For a long time.
So we've had heat warnings, we've had heat like this before, but it would break off in like a
Come
week
and
tops.
Go. Yeah, and it was like this when right before I went down to the Newport Folk Festival, and it stayed hot down there, and then even coming back, I thought, oh, this is Halifax, it's going to change. We're coastal. Nope.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen? We're already seeing the effects of like weird algae blooms that are coming up and like killing dogs.
Yeah.
Because
insects will start migrating.
I know.
I'm gonna run to the North Pole. I'm gonna just migrate with the Canada I know and love. And
exactly. It's like we're going past the tundra line.
Yeah.
And I guess I have a bit of a fascination with like Arctic adventures. Like Farley Mowat did it for me when I was a kid. But Dick Prenneke, who in the 1950s and maybe into the 60s, he was a heavy airplane mechanic, and decided that he was going to go up to his friend's hunting cabin and then built his own cabin. And he ended up going up one year and he fell out of the trees and lived in his friend's hunting cabin. And the next year he came up and he built the cabin. And he did it all and videotaped it. So like he would set up these massive long shots of him, like just a speck going across the mountain. Then he'd have to come back and get it. And
that's
stuff,
what's crazy about, because I've been watching some bow hunters that do that.
Yeah.
I'm getting into bow hunting a lot. And some of them go out solo and record really good quality.
All that, right?
Yeah, and they're like literally like, so what blows my mind is thinking of like, so you spot the animal, it's like a big healthy mature animal, or you're like, that animal's old, I'm gonna take it, or I'm gonna try, because it's not like the archery is easy either. And so then he sets up his little tripod, maybe he's got a couple, so there's one on the animal and one on him, and then after that he's gotta like draw and or crouch in on it, and and then if it doesn't go well, it's like, no, fuck,
well, it's just a waste of time.
One camera click, animal hears it, gone.
Yeah, my YouTube likes have gone down.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting with like Dick Prenneke is that he became part of it's like an Alaskan, I can't remember what the park is. It's now as a preserved land, but he just lived amongst nature and self-sufficient. He had a friend, I believe his friend's name was maybe Babe, who would come on an airplane to drop off supplies to him once in a while and take mail that he would write letters and send away. But everything else, like, he just lived on his own and was just like, he wanted to prove to himself that he could live in this isolated environment and be self-sufficient. So, I mean, even with ticks in Nova Scotia, because we're having warmer and warmer temperature, like, that's very unsettling.
Yeah.
That really is. So, like, I can see the draw why people would want to be like, boom, we're heading up north.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have a bit of a fascination with that. He goes in there and it's really cool. He has some supplies and he built his own place and stuff and, you know, everything himself. But he's like, I decided to make a stew today and I didn't have a spoon. So that's what he does. He makes himself a spoon.
Yeah.
And he takes this rough piece of wood, he kind of carves it out a little bit. And every single night would sharpen his axe.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of, like, chiseling tools and stuff too. But, like, if I didn't have a spoon to eat my yogurt today, what would I do? You know? I'm not going to sit down and I use my hands or whatever. But, like, you know, there's just amount of, like, self-reliancy that we just don't require anymore, right? And I think that learning those, like, skills and tools would be amazing.
That's really one of my biggest goals, if I'm being honest, is I see the city as this, like, vortex of opportunity and potential, and there's tons of ladders to climb everywhere I look, and so I want to use it to hopefully fling you back out into the woods where I came from.
But cities are also a vortex of convenience too. But at what cost?
That's the thing. I mean, when I'm in the woods, I grew up outside of a town of like 2,000.
You're New Brunswick, right?
Yeah. And so I just grew up around all the woodland animals and in the woods. And
30 cats.
30 cats over the... Not all at once. Thank God. But anyways, I feel like it had me and my friend Peter, he works with us and he's been on the podcast, but we were talking about, because he was born and raised in Toronto and I was born and raised in the middle of the woods, and we were just talking about, you know, the vibes between the forest and the city, and I was just telling him how I feel like my general calm demeanor came from that more peaceful upbringing, and I never actually really feel like myself unless I'm in nature. Like, I never feel, even in the city now, it's like there's something, it's just the vibe in the place. And then he was just talking about, and it was very funny, we laughed, but he was like, I was born and raised in Toronto, and like, looking back on it, I'm just like, God damn it, no wonder I turned out so fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, and the first thousands of years of our lives, cities didn't really exist.
I wonder even, well, not like today for sure. Like, even if you were in Rome at the height of Rome and it was the best time ever to be in Rome, you know, there still was torches and there wasn't electricity, and you know, you still saw the stars.
There wasn't the hum, and I don't know how sprawling they would actually. And I couldn't speak of that. I don't know how sprawling those cities and stuff would have been. And to get out of them, like, because you're probably visiting neighbor towns for X, Y, and Z or whatever, but like you wouldn't have the same, again, noise and light pollution and things like that we experience today, and there still again would be a bit more connection to what's around you because it would have been all earthen materials. I'm not saying that like the wood and the steel trusses and stuff isn't like it came from the earth, but it's not the same thing.
Well, we've manipulated it
exactly,
and you know, I'm sure we can. What I hope is that we can manipulate things in a way where we're working more in alignment with the systems in place by nature. And I think that wouldn't even just be good for the longevity of the culture, and that's for the sake of the human beings living in it and experiencing the crazy, painful experience of life together. And it's you know, it's also just good. It's good for everyone on every level because that connection to all those things and that respect for it enriches your life. Like,
it's one of the things that I really like about I've been obsessed for probably 10 years with like the tiny home movement, and a lot of people who get into tiny homes is for sustainable living, but a lot of the people who do that take it further, and they use all like reclaimed materials and things like that. And I like it because it usually makes you think, and to what you're doing, and consciously have a moment of where you're like, do I want to use this or do I want to use that? And then it just brings you closer to, and your home and your life closer to nature and having that connection, which, you know, we don't have as much. Like there's that, kids can recognize over like 200 different types of trademarks and brands, but can only like point out so many different types of trees and plants.
Yeah, for sure. True for me too.
You know,
100%.
so I think there's a Vancouver-based foundation that's helping get like educating kids on that. But it just goes to show we don't have that anymore. Whereas before, like that's how you survived.
Yeah, you knew
so
what
like,
you were
oh
looking
god, the
at.
Nike store. Okay, good. Whew.
Yeah.
It's like poison oak or what? Like,
yeah, what do I wet my ass with? What's gonna leave a rash?
Exactly.
Yeah, just basic, even starting a fire skills and things like that. Like, there's so many people that you just drop in the woods and they can't do anything.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is unfortunate. It means you can't go in the woods when you want. But people don't understand. I mean, some people in the city, they just would rather be around all that convenience and comfort.
Yeah.
But I think it's shallow. It's shallow for me, at least. Like the feeling I have when I'm tending a fire by a lake or something, and there's coyotes howling across the lake, and you're just like, keep this fire lit, and coyotes. Hope you know, there's a little kid. No little kid would ever wind up disillusioned. I'm talking to my ass, but I would hope that no little kid would wind up disillusioned from their society, however small it was. If you're just like, why am I here? It's like, well, we can get into the philosophic side of it if you want, but right now we need you to tend this fire. It's like, why do I mind doing what I'm doing? Because there's monsters that will eat you if you don't keep that lit. And the kid's like, all right, I feel good doing this. There's a reason for it. It's meaningful.
Purposeful.
It's purposeful. I'm helping everyone around me stay warm. I'm staying warm. That's the shit. You know?
That's what you're doing, and that's what your purpose is at the time.
Yeah, and it's so much more related fundamentally to
your existence and survival.
Yeah. It's not like I'm pushing paper on sending emails and stuff.
What are you doing? I'm sending this email. Okay, is that going to keep us alive? No, but I'm going to get tickets for the show in 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think like, so what time do you need to get going?
Around 8 o'clock.
Okay, it's almost 8 now, so we should probably start wrapping it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
We just could talk forever.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. I can always tell with people that I have a good rapport with when we haven't like hashed it out for a while, because it's just this really rapid back and forth just happened. And
well, we can always I can come back again, and I know Palmer would love to come back to chat sometime, and he's amazing just to go down that stream of conscious. Actually, and Sean is really, really great just to have those conversations with. I think that's even the challenges of a business owner, is that I want to always have those amazing open dialogues with folks, and I could go down and have those really, really deep conversations, but sometimes there has to be a little bit of division between us, because we do have a bit of a role. Like, I still am an employer.
Yeah.
I'm the man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we've definitely all had some really great, some really enlightened chats.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. This podcast has been such a great idea.
I was excited when you said you were going to do it.
Yeah, it's been every time I sit down with someone, it's been some kind of unique, transformative conversation in some way. I find myself more often than not, like when it gets really into the heat of it, the place I like to be in is where I feel like I'm literally on the edge of, I'm exploring. I'm not seeing things that I'm sure of anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for, like, we're generating new ideas together.
Yeah.
And then we're also going back and forth, sharing experiences, sharing what we're interested in, sharing what we think, and then you're creating something between the people yourself and the other people involved in the dialogue, and it's
Yeah.
like I've gained such a huge appreciation for conversation because it's so.
It's almost a lost art form.
It is a lost art form.
You know, I interviewed someone a few days ago, and they said, "Well, I'm a millennial, so you can just text me," because I'm very like I believe in the importance of